Hello and welcome to your Best Health Summit. It is day 18. It should have been the last day, but we had to reschedule one for Friday. But it is Linda Mitchell is here today, and she just came back from Vegas, where she was having a fantastic time with all of the best fitness people in America. Was it national or international?
It was international.
Oh, wow. So from everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah, so she's going to tell us some about that, but she's also going to tell us a little bit about her story because, how does one decide to do this? And especially, because I don't think you've been doing it your whole life, or have you?
I have actually been doing it
Okay.
since I was 18.
Oh, wow. So she has been, but she's been doing it for some time. So tell us all about that because I really don't know much, obviously.
Okay. What did you want me to start with, Vegas, or how I got started?
Yeah, how did you get started and then go all the way up to Vegas?
How I got started into fitness. Well, I kind of was interested in it when I was about 18. I went and began working out at this gym that had the roller pads that basically were supposed to beat the fat off of you. I think we've evolved a long way since then.
Yeah.
And it had a sauna, steam room, and I did some weights. And I just remember there was this lady. She was older, probably about my age now, but she just was fabulous, fabulous. She was just so fit, and I thought, wow, that's really a testament to what fitness can do for you. And I just really was amazed, and I loved working out. And I can remember thinking, I wish that I could do this all day long. I love this so much. And little did I know that I would be doing it all day long later on and have it as a career.
Yeah.
So I started then, and I got married pretty young at the age of 18 and had my first child at the age of 19. And we moved very far away from Ohio to North Dakota, where there was very little around to do. It was Minot, North Dakota, so very cold winters on an Air Force base. And I had my first child, and I started going to an exercise class, and I just remember thinking, wow, my stomach muscles are non-existent. How am I going to keep up at this pace with these people in this class?
Mm-hmm.
And I came to the next class, and I thought, wow, I'll just do my best. What else can I do? And by the end of the class, the instructor came up to me and asked me if I would like to take over when she left in 6 months.
Oh, wow.
Back then you were elected,
Whoa.
not like today where you have to be highly knowledgeable and trained.
Yeah.
And so in 6 months I was ready to go, but one little deterrent, I found out I was pregnant again. So, but I'm always one for a challenge. So I began as a pregnant instructor and taught from the day of birth. And that's how I kind of started into it. Like leg warmers and Jane Fonda and all that were the rage then.
Right. Oh, I remember those days. We did those tapes at home, me and my mom.
Yeah. So I kind of started into it that way. And I can remember having a lady come to my class, and she was a dancer, and she did all these dance moves, and I was more athletic, more fitnessy, more strength type of girl. And she told me, you'll never make it in fitness, but I'm here to tell you 38 years later, I think she was wrong. A lot of people aren't ballerinas, and they want to be able to move and enjoy themselves. So I teach more wide appeal to the average population that would like to be fit and healthy, look good, but you don't have to learn a dance routine.
So yeah, I mean, and I think that's important because there's so many, like I said, there's a lot of people who love yoga, but there's a lot of people who either don't like yoga or want something in addition to yoga. Like yoga is good for what it is, but they want to expand themselves. And I think with the amount of yoga classes out there, like some women are starting to believe that, well, maybe I should just do yoga. But I think that there's so much more to fitness, like to actually being healthy, and yoga is a really great part of that, or could be a part of that. However, I think that like what you're saying, doing some weight training and cardio and all of that is so important too. Do you find that there's like a really good balance in your schedule or like in some of your clients' schedules that like what they do?
Yeah, I believe in being versatile.
Mm.
I do believe in cardio, but I don't believe in the kind of cardio that is hours upon hours, long duration, slow-mo cardio. No,
Mm-hmm.
I believe in HIIT training, basically where you get in, you work hard, you do intervals, maybe work 30 seconds hard, a minute rest, or 2 minutes hard, 2 minutes rest.
Mm.
And so a shorter duration with more intensity. You can only go so many times with the HIIT training per week. I mean, you wouldn't want to do that every day,
Yeah.
but 2 to 3 times a week with HIIT training. And maybe if you still have time, do, a 30-minute cardio. But I find that the people get a lot better results with just killing it in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 3-4 times a week versus, I've got to do my 30 to 45 minutes cardio every day, or I've got to do yoga, hot yoga for an hour and a half, 5 times a week or whatever. How I put my clients is we do 2 to 3 HIIT, maybe for 15 minutes each, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 functional trainings, which is my boot camp.
Okay.
Now that would be an hour session, but that has everything. We get weight training, we get flexibility, we run, we do our body weight, we do everything in that hour.
Wow.
And yoga once a week, because you want to still be able to have that range of motion and flexibility.
Yeah.
I'm 53 and I can still sit in the splits, and, I can do everything a 20-year-old can do, and I just did in Las Vegas.
Yeah, and I love what you're saying here about, it's for those of us who are like, oh, I don't want to take 2 hours to go exercise. It's not about taking 2 hours, it's about, what I'm hearing from you is it's about being really efficient with the time, make it one shorter amount of time that you're really kind of pushing at. And then, push for those 15 minutes rather than, doing the aerobics or whatever for 45. And then you have it done quicker. And we can hush all those people who are like, I don't have time. I don't have time. Do you have 15 minutes?
Yeah. I mean, really. I mean, you'll be like, oh my gosh, when is this over? Versus, I could do this for, you couldn't do HIIT training for 45 minutes. No. Not usually.
And yet when you're done, I imagine that you feel really, really good about it. Like my husband does CrossFit, and believe me, it's like that old adage or new adage, I guess, that they have, how do you know if somebody does CrossFit? Don't worry, they'll tell you.
Well, ChickFit is similar to CrossFit.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
But we, and it's ladies, and we're working for just the feminine physique.
Okay.
But I also take in consideration that I'm going to have a wide range of age from 30 to, I have like 58-year-olds in there. So I have to take in consideration that we can't be flinging a bar over our head or doing power cleans at the speed of light, Yeah. So I focus on form, and we do repetition, but I try not to take it quite to the edge of CrossFit. Even though we are intense and we work hard,
right?
There's a fine line there.
Well, and
I
think it's
the chiropractor,
right? And it depends on have you been doing this for 20 years, or did you just start working out in the last 6 months? I mean, that's a big difference, I imagine, when it comes to clients.
Oh, I mean, 100%. You've got to, a lot of times I have people will come to your boot camp and they think that they should be able to come in and do it like someone that's been doing it, for 10 years. And that's not realistic. I tell them, come in and do 50%. Give yourself a pass to suck until you don't. Just come in, you know, do what you can do, and each time you're going to be able to do a little more. But don't blow yourself out of the water trying to keep up with someone that's either way younger or way more experienced than you. You know, don't compare yourself.
Yeah.
Just come in, just do what you can do, and you'll be able to do more. Each time you'll be able to do more. That way you don't get an injury and you're not discouraged.
Exactly. The discouraged is always what I get concerned about, because when you get discouraged, then you're like, I'm just not doing it. And it's like, that's not what we're supposed to do. And every time we compare, you know, it's that phrase, compare and despair, right? I mean, the only person that we really should be comparing against is ourselves. You know, can I do better than I did yesterday? And just even if it's one more sit up or one more rep, you know, can I do that?
Yeah, I try to tell them not to be all or nothing.
Yeah.
It'll be nothing. You've got to give yourself like, okay, I'm going to do 70%, 70, you know, 70, 30. And then when you can do that, well, do 80, 20, and then 90, 10.
Yeah.
You know, comparison is a thief of joy. I mean, you've got to just go with what you got and work until you make it what you want it to be.
Yeah, and it's with little changes, like you said, you know, you just add a little bit more, whether that's weight or reps or however you know, tell your clients to do it. But to me, like, all changes are about making smaller changes and just keep moving so that you can get that momentum. I mean, just starting to go to the gym, like, just show up every day. That's a lot for some people, you know what I mean? Just all you gotta do is show up and do something.
Well, I think that's like that in almost everything in life. Show up for what you want.
Yeah, there you go.
That's number one.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes. And if you don't show up, stop complaining about it. Sorry, that's just my side comment. So what keeps you motivated?
What keeps me motivated? Well, I love the fact that I'm at the opposite end of the spectrum at 53, and I feel like I'm 20 and I can do all the things. Actually, I'm more fit than I was when I was 20. And I just feel so good. I feel healthy. I feel vibrant. I feel alive. I can go out now. My children are grown and do all the things I want to do. You know, it's about being able to do what you want to do to the fullest, living life to the fullest. It's
about having enough energy and everything to do all the things that you want to do. Yeah. I mean, you don't look 53. That's why.
If you're healthy and you're fit, I mean, you can do so much more, you know, with your life overall. I mean, I feel so much better now in my 50s than I did in my 20s. And I feel more sure of myself and more pleased, you know. Overall, I love the person I see when I look in the mirror looking back at me.
Yeah, and I love the energy that you have. I mean, you have this like aura of just, I'm just happy and this is cool. Life is cool. Like whenever I saw any of your pictures from Vegas, because we're Facebook friends. So whenever I saw any of your pictures from Vegas, I was like, wow, she just looks so happy. And I mean, when I was growing up, women in their 50s didn't have this glow necessarily around them. Like I'm thinking about my mother, and she worked a lot and, you know, had a job that she wasn't really passionate about. And just being able to see that you're doing something that you're really passionate about, I mean, I think that alone helps, you know, you ooze this aura of, you know, fun and happiness, which, you know, I'm sure people just want to be around then. So tell us a little bit about your Chick Fit boot camp.
Okay. I have basically developed this. I have a heart for women, a mission for women. And it's all about having this space where we can respect one another and support one another, and have built this trust among women, which I feel, not to be on the negative, but in some ways in the work class, it can be a little catty sometimes. just to build this space where women feel safe, where they feel like they're respected and honored and supported, and they can go after their goals and dreams. And I want each woman that comes to me to be able to look at herself in the mirror and feel 100% great about what she sees there. I want to help build her self-esteem. I want her to love herself from the inside out. And that is what I try to accomplish through the type of classes I teach, the message I bring, and just the type of atmosphere we have. There's no like person in there looking at you to judge you if you don't do a burpee 100%, or, you know, if there's something you can't do, we modify. Yes, we push to the utmost, but you know, there's nobody standing over you criticizing or judging you. It's a very supportive atmosphere.
Yeah, no, I love that because it's so interesting for me because my initial thought on that is because you guys are competitors and everything, you'd be very competitive and catty. And yet like I said, I saw these pictures and you're having hugs with everyone and you're like, oh, this girl just won this. Hey, take a picture with me, you know? And it was like, it's not like that cattiness that I would, you know, and I guess just growing up as, you know, a teenager being around women who are competitive and sportsy, because I am not a fitness person at all. That's why you're here. But I guess that's just my judgment. And
that's a point that I really want to emphasize on, just something that I feel as a competitor when we go. You know, I look at the lineup of the women in Masters 45 and over, and I'm like, wow, just wow. We all look great. Like, it's amazing. You know, any one of them could win and walk away with a trophy. It can't just be about a trophy. You have to have a big reason why, you know, why you're doing that. I mean, any one of us could walk away with a trophy. And so what you have to have is a reason why you're doing it. You know, your trophy is, hello, the way you feel and the way you look at your age, that is your trophy.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly how you feel. I mean, that's the benefit. Who really cares if you're all feeling great? Isn't that better than, you know, one person feeling great and everybody else being miserable?
I'm just like, you know, sometimes I win, sometimes I don't. I can't go in there all concerned about some score. And you know, I get my validation from within. And I think that a lot of women, I try to teach them to get the validation from within, not from an external source, to celebrate yourself 100% every day. Celebrate yourself. Don't wait for somebody to do it. Just celebrate yourself.
Yeah, because we talked a little bit about that yesterday. You're the only one who's responsible to make you happy, you know, and you're the only one who really can make you happy. So focusing on yourself first is what's important, because when you feel filled up yourself, you're kind of gonna ooze that into your people that you love, and you know, your friends, your family. It's all of that good stuff is gonna come flowing out into that. But if we start taking care of everybody else first, we're going to start getting that hole and being resentful about, you know, not taking care of ourselves. So I think that that's so important. And you've actually, you have a book coming out, correct? Am I allowed to talk about this? The Sisterhood of Sweat?
Yeah, absolutely.
Has it released yet? I keep seeing the cover and I'm like, is it out yet?
It's almost out. We're kind of proofreading right now. I went to Vegas and that kind of, I didn't have time while I was there, but as soon as the proofreading is done, which is just the next couple of days, it's going to be out on Amazon. The Sisterhood of Sweat, Strong Women. Yes. Strong women, empowering, achieving together.
Yeah. So is that tell us about that? Like, what is it going to have in it? What is it going to tell us? Is it stories about women?
Yeah, it's basically going to talk about investing in yourself. And I mean, I have a whole thing on, I have a negative energy cleanse and a positive energy building section, and how to just basically, I think that it's all encompassing. You know, a strong woman that's empowered is not only fit and healthy, but she has healthy relationships.
Hmm.
and separates herself from negative energy. So I go through, relationships and investing in yourself and just female empowerment, just a whole chapter about that and everything, all things fitness for sure, because that's what I am. I'm a fitness mama.
Sure.
So I have everything about nutrition and the right way to go about it. Not that
Hmm.
there's, a wrong way, but just,
Well, I think there are. I'll make judgments. I think there are.
yeah,
I'm a health coach though, so I'm going to say that.
everybody has their way. I just talk a lot about eating, just whole foods, and that food is not your enemy, and that you really shouldn't take anything out of your food groups. Okay. Um, I don't feel deprived when I compete, and when I'm just living, my everyday life, I live the same. I just live the lifestyle, which is to eat, whole foods. I just eat normal whole foods, no junk, no processed food. And I just try to teach everybody to eat clean and healthy and not
Yeah.
eliminate food groups.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's what it comes down to. I think all the food groups are important. I mean, unless you have some allergy or whatnot to something. I mean, but then obviously you want to take that out. But I mean, I think all the food groups are important, and I don't think it's, I get a little discouraged when people are talking to me about diet plans. Well, I was on this diet, I was on it, and I'm like, well, it's not about a diet. You know what I mean? It's about a lifestyle. It's about
Yeah.
how you choose to make these habits like your everyday thing. It shouldn't be like, oh, well, when I'm done with this diet, are you gonna be done eating at some point? Or like
Well, I know exactly what you're saying, and I actually came in at my best this year for Fitness America, and somebody asked me, when did your prep start? And I can't really say that it that it ever started, because I just was living the lifestyle, and I think that that is what we should all try to attain, is just living a balanced lifestyle where there's no real extremes,
yeah.
and it's healthy, and anybody can do it. It isn't just somebody that's doing, a fitness competition. It's for everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you sit behind a desk, even a better reason to, eat well, because you're not getting all the movement in that somebody who is, training or living a more fitness lifestyle would get. So I think it's important for everybody. And I really believe that a lot of the diseases and whatnot that we have today, especially like with obesity and, all of that stuff, it has a lot to do with how we're eating. It's just garbage we're feeding our bodies. And the sugar, I mean, especially, is phenomenal amounts of sugar in our diet.
Oh yeah.
Probably not ours so much, but in the American diet.
Biggest thing I think that really changed my overall health was really cutting sugar. And I eat things that, a sweet potato or quinoa or, some brown rice. I'm eating carbohydrates for sure. You need them.
Sure.
But it's more of a balanced carbohydrate, which isn't going to rush into my bloodstream and spike my insulin levels, and
Mm-hmm.
create more cravings. So I talk
Right.
a lot about sugar in the book.
Yeah. Oh, good. Because I mean, if you're going to cut any food group, sugar is the only one, because it's not really a food group. It's not really a food group we
Tips on
need.
how to cut the
It's
cravings,
one.
because I used to be a big carboholic sugar girl.
Me too. Me too. Pasta. I think I used to have pasta like 4 nights a week or something, and now we never have pasta unless it's like the brown rice pasta or something.
Yeah, I have all kinds of fabulous recipes in the book that, well, one would be a healthy mac and cheese with a brown rice macaroni.
Yeah.
All kinds of really great recipes in the book to help people to have that variety, but also to have that taste. Like tomorrow's Thanksgiving, and I'm going to make a gluten-free, sugar-free pie. I'm making a peanut butter pie. And let me tell you, it's better than anything off the rack that you could buy. And
Yeah.
I can feel 100% great about eating it. and bringing it, and my family are, I'm not going to tell them. They're going to know the difference.
Exactly. I mean, and that's what happens around here. Like, I don't tell my kid when I make something without sugar because he's not going to know unless I tell him. And if I tell him, he'd be like, oh, it's going to be garbage. You know what I mean? And he has no idea. And I think that's what people really miss when we start talking about eating whole foods. They're like, oh, I have to give up this and I have to give up that. And I'm like, well, stop focusing on what you're giving up, all this processed food, and start focusing on like new recipes with whole food that can really work. I mean, I make these like little date balls. They have dates and
Those are
almonds and coconut shreds in them. They're so freaking tasty. I can't even stand it.
It would be so fun. I mean, I had a blast. My husband wishes I was writing another book again because every Sunday I created recipes, and I mean, it was so fun, and I couldn't even believe like how good they were. I mean, compared to your normal chocolate chip cookie, or you know.
Right. Oh, absolutely. No, I mean, it definitely is possible. It's just that a lot of us, you know, I was raised on processed food because my mom worked 2 or 3 jobs and, you know, so we cooked for ourselves. And so, you know, food with instructions on it was good because she didn't have to teach us how to cook it. She could be at work. So we cooked all that stuff. So I never really learned how to cook, you know, until I decided I needed to eat healthier. And then I realized it's really not that much work. Like most recipes are not like 4-hour preps or anything. You know what I mean? Everything can be simple. And one of the simplest things that I make for myself for dinner, like if I just cannot think about what I want to eat, I just fry up some vegetables with a little soy sauce, throw a little rice in there, and now I have vegetable fried rice. I mean, boom, it's done. I can throw almonds in for a little bit of protein or chickpeas or, you know, chicken, whatever.
Yeah.
And done.
Yeah, I kind of, in the book, I talk about how fast food is really fast death. It's kind of like a myth that it's fast.
Yeah.
Because it takes so much from you in the long run.
Or cheap.
I wouldn't call it. I would like to change that word. Fast food.
Yeah, I don't even know if that we should be calling it food, really. I mean, have you seen some of the ingredients in it? Like, I'm not sure if it should be like a food-like item.
Yeah, I don't know that we should be calling it fast food, but I have a lot of thoughts about it. My son's like, I can't remember the last time Mom ever took me through drive-through.
I know my son used to ask for it all the time. And one day I showed him after we started eating better, I showed him the chicken nugget video where they like dissect what's in a chicken nugget, and he hasn't asked to go to McDonald's since then.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, I can't feed you this. I just can't.
One of my chapters is get out of the drive-through into the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I talk a lot about just, you know, getting yourself realizing that if you want to have the body that you want to have and you want to feel fit and healthy, you have to prep. You know, you can't go just expecting your food to show up for you out there and you say, oh, I don't cook. Oh, you know that. No, you need to wrap your mind around the fact that, yes, you need to be able to cook a few things. And yes, you need to prepare your food. Be intentional about what you're putting in your mouth, you know, just like you'd be intentional about how you take care of a Lamborghini or a Porsche, you know, take care of your body. I mean, it's got to get you through to the end. I mean, it's pretty daggone important to be on the high list, you know?
And I think one of the things that I find with clients is they look at the wrong parts of the label. Like they look for the carbs and they look for, you know, how much calories it has. And I'm like, stop looking at that part and start looking at the bottom where it says ingredients. Like, because that's what's important. Because I have a lot of people who come to me and they're like, but I only drink Diet Coke. And I'm like, that is a problem. You know, that is often the problem because yes, it doesn't have any calories, but it has a lot of things in it that will create, you know, inflammation and whatnot in your body.
Oh yeah, toxins galore from the food that we're eating. That's why I have a 7-day cleanse in the book too. I
Oh, good.
we should spring clean the body 4 times a year because,
Yeah.
the environment's toxic, your food. I mean, you really don't want it to have more than 5 ingredients. And you should be looking at those ingredients. I mean, in natural flavors, you could have 100 ingredients. Okay. And
Yeah.
natural, you think it would be good for you? I mean, it could be beaver's ass. It could be yoga mat. I mean,
It could be, I mean, it could be anything. Everything is natural, right? It all came from somewhere.
yeah. Oh, don't get me started on that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like I don't even understand the difference between an artificial.
Or maybe you don't.
I just don't want to know, probably, is the difference.
I mean, just do the best you can. Of course, don't be paranoid about it, but yes, you should read the labels and, try to go organic. I put the Dirty Dozen in my book, but you could Google it online and just see what you should have organic, like berries, you definitely want organic, apples, because they're spraying hundreds of pesticides on your fruit. You think you're eating healthy, but oh my gosh, there's all this poison on your fruit. So it's worth spending a few more cents to get the organic versus the pesticides. And also another thing, your coffee. I hate to say it because I love coffee, but I recently switched to something that's organic because, I mean, they're putting all these pesticides on your coffee beans and you think, I think coffee is fine. I mean, for me, I 100% think you should be able to have coffee. But not all coffee is created equal. They sometimes get the coffee from countries that the substance would be banned in the US that they spray on your beans. So you definitely that could be a source of something you might want to check out is just your morning coffee. Not trying to be a buzzkill.
No, absolutely. I don't drink coffee, thank goodness. But I mean, the same thing goes for tea as well. I mean, that they could be spraying tea leaves with all kinds of insecticides too, or pesticides. So even looking at, tea that is organic, it can be important too. And I know I mentioned this before on the summit, but like when people say that they're gluten intolerant or gluten sensitive, like I wonder because as I went through nutrition school, there was a lot of studies that showed that as the pesticide rate rose on grains, more and more people start going to hospitals and doctors with stomach problems, So is it that they're gluten insensitive or is it the actual garbage that they spray onto the wheat that they're actually sensitive to? So it's hard to tell and it doesn't really matter, right? Unless you can get organic and tell the difference.
Well, it can be gluten. It can be. Because they're not all wheat isn't. Wheat is not wheat anymore like it used to be.
Right.
And they're taking all the good. They strip it of when they says enriched. They basically just stripped it of everything.
And then they jam stuff in there again, they jam it back in, like as if it's natural.
The absorption of the gluten is the problem. I don't know necessarily that gluten is bad if you had some kind of fiber in there to slow down the absorption of all of that. So I just think that we got a lot of problems and that I'm part of the Integrative School of Nutrition and we've started really developing the health coaching alliance there. And I feel that there needs to be a lot more of us coming together to make sure our food sources are healthy for people, and we need to start having a mission about that. All these GMOs and just everything that, the salmon isn't salmon anymore.
Yeah. Don't get me freaked out about that. That's something. There's just all kinds of frankenfish and all kinds of crazy stuff going on. And they say, oh, well, we test it. Well, for how long do you test it? And do you test it with all the other garbage that we have in our diet? There's no way that they can test all of the things that we put our bodies through, during a lifetime together. There's no animal that could take that probably besides the human.
No, our body can take a lot. So that's why I'm saying don't be paranoid. But, if you eat the best that you can, and you drink, you know, pure water, and you have enough fiber in your diet, you're going to be a lot healthier overall. You're
Yeah.
healthier. I mean, because your body,
And
it can
yeah.
process chemicals, it can, but you know, it's when it gets to an overload of toxicity that you have the trouble.
Right. And like, you know, it all comes back to how you feel. You know that you're doing the right thing for your body because you feel really good at 53. And let me tell you, if you feel really good at 53, then do what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Well,
I mean,
say there was a time I wasn't feeling so wonderful, and you know, it was during competition in my, I don't know, I was trying to think how old I was. It's been a while now, but in my 40s, I guess. Somewhat mid 40s to late 40s. I had been told by a coach that you know was kind of famous, so I won't say who it was, to eat fish for like every meal, and vegetables, fish and vegetables, fish and vegetables. I mean, just out the wazoo.
mm-hmm.
And well, unfortunately, this is before I knew as much about nutrition as I know. And I ate a lot of fish, and the fish was full mercury. You want to really watch that. You want to watch how much fish you eat. You want to make sure that you're eating, you know, like the smaller white fish, not orange roughy, which is one of the highest in mercury, and not too much tuna. You got to be careful on what type of tuna you're having, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I just, in the book, I write about fish because I had mercury poisoning, and
Wow.
pretty serious. I felt like I was dying. Every week on the weekend, I would say to my husband, I feel like I'm being poisoned. And finally, I went to a holistic doctor who was also, he also has his regular license to practice. And he did a blood test. It was in my blood, and also tissue mineral analysis, which isn't always 100% accurate, but in both, it showed that I had high toxicity of mercury. So I had to do a lot to get rid of that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, can I just tell you, my life is night and day. My energy is through the roof. And I thought I was eating healthy. So it really pays to do your research and to be diligent about, you know, what you're putting in your mouth, to be informed.
Yeah, and I think that it's so important to stay informed as you go through life because, you know, I'm sure back when aerobics were the thing, right? It was no fat. If you want to be thin, don't have any fat, can't have any fat. Everything went low fat or no fat, and we still have
low fat. You eat intimate bakery goods, and it's you think you're eating healthy.
Exactly, like low compared to what? Exactly. And then, you know, we had the no carbs. Oh my gosh, you can't have any carbs whatsoever. Butter and steak.
Yeah.
Have butter and steak.
Forget everything and you're bitchy on top of it. You're like, oh,
and that's what happens because
carbs, will you?
Yeah, right. I mean, that's what happens because we start robbing our bodies of certain nutrients and all of our balance goes off. You know, if we do that thing that we were talking about before not to do, which is to not balance it. You know, don't cut out those food groups. You have to balance that because they all have different nutrients and our bodies kind of need all of the balance of all of that. So don't go crazy. And I mean, I think it's like you said too, it's not about, you know, focusing on these restrictions or focusing on, you know, certain types of food. It's just about going, is this a real food? You know, is this an apple or versus like apple juice? You know what I mean? People are like, oh, well, I got my fruits because I had apple juice. Well, apple juice is not the same as an apple because that is pure sugar. It's like you took the syrup from the apple and that's how you're digesting it. There's no fiber there for it to break down. So your blood sugar goes boom, boom, and that's it, you know, where with an apple, it might, you know, go like this and then it'll slowly come back down and we won't feel starving and we won't feel, you know, that buzz and then that crash because I'm very sensitive to that now. The more you lower your sugar, I think the more you get sensitive to that. Like I couldn't eat a whole cupcake with that. Some of these cupcakes they have now with the icing that's like that big. I could never eat one of those. I would be like, whoa.
No, absolutely. We were just talking about how back in the day our parents didn't let us have pop. It had to be for, a special occasion.
An
I know.
occasion, yeah.
Yeah, but they were giving us Kool-Aid. We're like sugar water, and we expect our
With
kids not to be
food
hyper.
coloring.
So, I mean, I just think that, like you said, eating an apple goes a long way. I mean, I know we've got these Fitbits and we've got all these gadgets, and people are doing this whole, if it fits your macros, I guess where I'm going to come in on that is that you, you really, all calories are not created equal. If I eat Oreos, the same amount of calories as an apple, it's not the same thing. So I don't care
Right.
what Fitbit tells you. I'm like, it's not the same thing if it fits my macros. I'm pretty sure if I eat things that clog my arteries and I eat ice cream sandwiches that don't melt on the sidewalk, it's probably not
Right.
going to be too good for my arteries. And I think, like, no, not all calories are created equal. That's
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I think. I get crazy when people are like, well, I was counting calories, so I had 3 chocolate bars yesterday. What do you mean? Like, well, that was all my calories. And it's like, I think you're missing the point. Like, you can't eat 3 chocolate bars in a day and be like, oh, well, I hit my calories. I can't eat anything else. Like, how about you start with the vegetables first?
I still have chocolate. I have Isogenics chocolate, and it's basically you've got all the good things with the chocolate, and so you can still have your chocolate.
Oh, you absolutely can still have the chocolate. Just don't eat 3 chocolate bars and expect to be healthy because, I mean, you need the vegetables and you need protein. You need a lot of things that aren't in that chocolate bar. But absolutely, if you need chocolate, I'm not saying cut chocolate out of your diet whatsoever because I really believe in like an 80-20 or a 90-10 rule where
I think your body can have some of those things.
Mhm.
It's geared to clean things out. And I also think that it kind of shocks your metabolism a little bit. So I don't have my girls, cut everything out. I mean, we eat 90-10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Becca, I think I'm going to get rid of this question because I'm not sure that we're talking about anal sex. All right. So
asking about the Fitbit.
And then no, there was another one after that. Something about carrot juice and anal sex.
Oh, that's another channel.
That's a different day.
That's a different, yeah.
So how do you get people in? I mean, you can talk about it if you want, but that's not exactly, what's on the cards today.
Yeah, they can have their
what are 3 things that you would tell somebody, like, to inspire them just to start moving? Like, how do you get your clients to just, even just visit a gym or just try things at home? What do you tell them if they just are like, I don't know where to start?
Get started where you are. Love yourself today. And, just think of how you're going to feel 6 months from now. Once you're further away from that starting point, where you're going to be at like 6 months from now. And just that everybody has to have their starting point. So, just embrace that and go from there.
Yeah. It's like a journey, it's just
again. I mean, sometimes you have to start again.
Yeah. And it's just how part of your journey is how I look at it, and no matter how many times you have to start, that's your journey. And your journey is not going to look like anybody else's.
We all fall off the wagon. We all have our bad days, and just love yourself where you're at is the main thing, I think, because you work out because you love your body, not because you hate your body. And don't say those negative things to yourself. Stop that right now. Do not say, my thighs are so fat. I can never be like that. my metabolism sucks, I'm too old, or I'm too this or that. Don't say that to yourself. Speak what you want to have. Speak positivity into that mirror. Speak to yourself and say the things that you want. Your words are powerful. The stories you tell yourself, that is powerful. Well, be your own best friend. Tell yourself you're great, you're wonderful, you're beautiful, you're created in God's image. I mean, just tell yourself positive things.
Yeah, we've been talking about that, and I think that that's so important. I mean, because like you said, we do tell ourselves a lot of negative things. And one of the things I try to do now is catch myself, even if I haven't said it out loud, if I'm just thinking it, I catch myself and like, no, my thighs aren't too fat. They're strong. My thighs are strong. And that's what makes me be able to, walk 2 miles a day or whatever. Those are strong thighs, like whatever you need to tell yourself. But there's a gift in everything that you have, in every piece in your body. There's a reason why you have it. So instead of being, hateful, and it's like you said, being your own best friend, would you tell your friend that her thighs were fat? You wouldn't do that.
No, and I think what you hit the nail on the head is having gratitude. I think there's been times that, it would be easy to be looking at the person next to you and be like, well, well, her body is so much better, or, comparing yourself, right? Mm-hmm. But I just think I went into this feeling just grateful that I'm alive and I'm healthy and I can do a fitness show, and just thankful for my body and my health and where I'm at right now in this moment. I think gratitude is going to take you where you want to go, versus the whole comparison and the whole being down on yourself. And I mean, just think of how wonderfully made you are. I mean, it's pretty darn amazing.
Yeah, somebody said the other day, you're the only one that's you, and isn't that awesome? Like, you're so unique. And we don't, sometimes we look at that as a negative instead of a positive, that we're so unique. Some of us want to be like everybody else, and it's like, don't do that. Like, don't minimize your journey, because this is your specific story and you're in charge of it. So, you have all this power over just you, and if you just take advantage of that and really do what you want to do. And what a good example you are, because I mean, you just seem to love what you do and you kind of ooze passion about it. And that's cool stuff. That's what people want to feel, I believe. They want to feel passionate and purposeful in their life.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I agree with you. And I think that that's another part of health, and that if you're out there and you're not finding, passion in your work, and you dread going to work and you're miserable and it's just draining you, you need to make a change. You can make a change, and you should make a change, because life goes by so fast. And, find that thing that makes you tick, that makes you want to get out of bed in the morning, and you're excited for the day. You can hardly wait. You just you can have a life like that. You just have to choose it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I completely agree. And I know I've mentioned this before in the summit, but like, I was working a job that I just completely hated. Like, I would come home at 5 o'clock in tears every day, wanting to like rant and vent to my husband. And he would be like, oh my God, not again. And I mean, one day I was like, I just have to leave. Like, I don't care if I go work at Dunkin' Donuts. I don't care, whatever. I need to leave, because it was literally keeping me sick. And the stress of it was killing me, like literally killing me. And I was like, is this worse than living out of a box? Really? I mean, because I'd be happier living out of a box than I would be doing all these things that are supposed to be the right thing, but just did not fit for me.
Right. Right. And I think that the stress of the job can be that, but also a very, unhealthy relationship. I talk about that. I had to leave one, and I talk about how, you may be eating right, you might be working out, you might be doing everything right, but if your life is sucking everything out of you and it's stressful, stress is a killer. You got to take that seriously, you know. And if you're in a relationship that you need to leave, you know, maybe you better do it for your health. Because if it can't be fixed, then, you know, you're important. You got to take care of your health. And I'm telling you, stress is a killer.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep, exactly. Well, we're rounding our 4 o'clock hour, so I guess we're just about done. I really appreciate you coming. We talked about a lot more than fitness, but I mean, I think it all, you know, health is about so much. It's so hard to like contain to one subject, and we found this all 18 days, I think. Like no matter what the speaker was coming on to talk about, we just went off and it went, but it's because it's like Terry said yesterday, it's all so interconnected that we can't possibly pull one piece out and go, oh, if you just do this, you'll be healthy. Because, you know, if you if you have the best movement there ever was, but your food sucks or your relationship really is bringing you down, I mean, you're not going to be healthy. You kind of have to have this really careful balance of all of those things. And, I just really thank you for coming on and talking about your story, because I mean, I think to have somebody with your amount of energy in your 50s and like passion and excitement, I mean, I see the pigtails and the smile, and I mean, it's just exciting that, you know, to see that women can grow older and into more joy rather than, you know, thinking we all have to become unseen or whatever, you know.
Absolutely.
I mean, you look absolutely fantastic.
Unseen. Yeah. And the biggest part about that is taking ownership of your life and celebrating yourself.
Yeah. And it can be scary to take power of your own life, because then you know you're responsible for it. But the thing that I learned about that was it was relieving for me, because when I realized I had power over only my life, I got to take off all the responsibility for everybody else. So I am not responsible for everybody else's happiness, just mine. And that became a lot easier because I can control my own happiness. I can't really do anything about anybody else's.
That's the lesson. Yeah. That you have to be responsible for yourself and not to allow anyone to keep you from shining your light, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you've worked it through. That's really awesome. So your Sisterhood of Sweat is a book that's going to be out soon.
Yes,
so everybody do you have a Facebook page or something?
I do. I also have a website, chickfit.me. They can go to that, and it will be up on that page soon. And also I have a Facebook page, the Chick Fit Studio.
The Chick Fit Studio. I'm putting it all into the side so that I'll be able to, in the post that I'll put together tonight, all of these links will be in there. So then, so feel free to look her up and find her even on Facebook, and you can see some of her great pictures. I mean, she's 53 and she's still modeling bikinis in front of thousands of people. I mean, if that doesn't inspire you, I just don't know what is going to. I mean, I just think it's amazing. It's really telling of how, if we choose to take care of ourselves, you know, how we can really live. Yes. You know, whatever we see our parents do, we don't have to live that way. There's other options.
Your life can evolve and be better as you get older.
Absolutely.
Life starts when you decide to live it.
Nice. That's a good one. I'm going to have to put that quote up on there. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to wrap this up. This is almost the end of the To Your Best Health Summit. Hi, Ryan. We have one more day on Friday because we had to reschedule a call from South Africa from last Friday. So Friday, there was storms, and somehow the storms prevent internet when South Africa gets hit. So Wendy is going to talk to us about style on Friday, and I'm really excited about this because although it seems unhealth related, I think that when we look good, we kind of feel good, you know, and if I put on my fancy matching bra and panties, I act a little different than if I'm if I'm
Yeah,
in my,
you
you
do.
know, old granny panties. I mean, even though nobody else can see them, it doesn't matter because I mean, I think style has a lot to do with our minds too and how we carry ourselves. So I am looking really forward to hearing how I can be stylish and, you know, in a classic kind of way. That's what I asked for her because I don't like to buy clothes all the time. So I like to have clothes that I know will last for a long time and still be stylish. And a lot of times, you know, she'll teach us how to accessorize them and stuff. I'm really excited, and she's got a great accent. So everybody come on back. All right, Linda, thank you so much again for being here. I really, really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing your book come out because it sounds like it has a lot of really great stuff in there to learn about fitness and just being healthier.
Yeah, and I do have a whole exercise section in the book, so all type
Nice.
of workouts, boot camps, recipes, it's all in there.
There you go. And it's right in time for
Yeah,
holidays. So, you know, if you're trying to nudge a friend into, you know, taking control of their health or
the
power,
whole
maybe you
holiday
get a
section.
pair of them
Yeah.
and work together on it. So, all right, great. Well, again, have a good night. I'm going to say goodbye and I'm going to stop the recording.